Welcome to the MineSanity podcast. What's up, guys? My name's Eric, aka Azrael Eternity, and welcome to the MineSanity podcast. Today we're operating a little bit short. We have Gravewalker.
Hey.
And Banjo Bates.
Hello there.
We are unfortunately missing our good pal Stevie. His internet is down due to his ISP. We're doing some work at his house. So we're running a three-man crew today. And we got a bunch of stuff to talk about.
The list here is just huge.
It is. It's actually a pretty beefy discussion topic list, and I think that we might run over our hour. And that's kind of why I put the whole EA topic at the very bottom.
Oh god.
Because that's going to be our big time sink. But first, as always, MineSanity news, anything that's going on. I just finally started building the dungeon underneath the castle at Eternity Island.
No, I'll have to check that out.
It's nothing fancy yet. That's partially why I need the iron. Is I had literally almost no iron left to build an iron golem inside of one of the cells.
Oh wow!
Wow, you're using up a lot of iron. Okay. Yeah, and also for the iron farm, any iron in the chest, you can take the majority of it. I don't need a lot of it. Just make sure to leave
before greed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But that's beside the point. Anyway. Moving on.
Grave, any news on your front?
Oh, other than the ridiculous amount of wither skulls I had and are already gone, no.
Grave, you got what happened? Essentially, you just got bored. You were watching TV and decided to go wither hunting.
Yeah, pretty much. Found a good show to watch, and it was a marathon of it. So I sat down, ended up with 9 wither skulls.
Which Banjo and I bought. We each paid a diamond block per skull, and I paid an extra 2 diamonds and got a beacon instead of the skulls.
Yeah,
which was nice. It was well worth the 2 diamonds.
If you would. I was wondering how long it was going to take you to notice that where I put your beacon.
Yeah, I have to admit I was in the Nether and working various places a lot. And so it wasn't until like a while after that I actually went home back to the island and noticed it. And the funny thing is like I didn't notice it initially. Like I didn't like walk around and then walk back to the portal and see it. I was dicking around in my storage area, and then I did my little jump climb on top of that platform using the cocoa beans, and I was like, the hell is this? Oh, my beacon. What was with the boat?
I don't know.
I should have taken a screenshot of it, but it was just like there's 9 iron blocks and then the beacon on top so that it would turn on, and then on top of the beacon there was a boat. I couldn't quite figure out what that was for.
I'm sorry, how do you
inventory?
How do you not notice the beacon's, beacon?
Well, no, I never looked up.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
He placed it on top of that big structure that I have around my portal.
I stuck it on top of his face.
Yeah. That's a pretty accurate description. On top of my face.
Stick it on your face.
Yeah.
Which I think I've shown in some of my videos, or somebody at some point has shown that the ceiling above my portal is my face.
I think that it was either Stevie or Sig's first video. They were doing a tour kind of thing, and they looked up and they were like, "What?" Yeah, I think it was Sig's too, but he looked up and was like, "What is this? Oh, it's a face."
It's a face. There's a face up in my face. All right.
I put a beacon on your face.
So that's pretty much it for MineSanity news. It's unfortunate we don't have Sig or Stevie here that they can share their stories. Banjo, I've also noticed that both you and Sig's jungle tree house things have been progressing pretty well.
Yeah.
His, I don't know if you've gone to his. His is very elaborate looking for one of his main buildings. He hasn't quite completed it, but it's architecturally very pretty.
I've seen it a bit. I don't think I've seen it recently, but I've seen a bit of it. I'm really liking the way mine's turning out, though. I like the organic look of it.
Yeah, yours seems very. That's exactly the word that I would use, is organic. It looks very natural, not how Sigs does right now, which is he has a lot of different colored woods for things.
Yeah.
I went over there the other night because if I'm bored, I'll start growing trees and I'll just cut up wood. And so I took nine stacks of jungle wood to him.
Well, I could use that.
Well, I'll get you some later then.
Along with jungle leaves. Jungle leaves are just horrible. I hate collecting them.
All right, I can do that. That's no problem at all.
Wow. Okay, that was easy.
Yeah, I don't mind. But I went over to his place and I dumped off, the 9 stacks in the chest, and he was AFK in a little cobble, bunker essentially. Yeah. Up in his tree. So I opened up the cobble bunker, I put a little piece of glowstone and a little sign on it, and it was just like, oh, hi there. Dash Azrael. And I just covered him back up and left. And he messaged me like a couple hours later. He was all, that was funny. So
yeah, I like the way his is so it looks more modern, I guess. Kind of like those modern
it looks like somebody's sticking an actual house on top of the trees.
Yeah. Whereas mine, I usually go for more of an underground thing.
Jane.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good way of describing it. I did not think of that until now. Good job.
With cats, with lots of cats.
Yeah. Those are all actually those are and were real life cats too. So
yeah,
that's not creepy in the least.
Except for one of them, I think you said that one of them still you need a black cat to replace one of them.
Yeah, I don't want to go into details of how I get my cats.
That's all right.
We
don't want to hear.
We want to know either.
Congratulations, Banjo! You are the crazy cat lady of the server.
Thank you. But yeah, actually, I got creeper bombed a few times in my house, so that's nice to have spread out. So is Sigzo, which is really odd because it's like the 2 jungle dwellers have been creeper bombed in their houses. Anyway.
Yeah.
Continue on.
Anyhow, yeah.
So I have a story that I want to share because simply for the hilarity of it. So in case you guys weren't aware, I am going to be purchasing my first handgun. It's something that I've wanted for a while, and my wife is finally okay with it. She's like, you know what, I'm alright with you spending, our tax refund money to go get this. It's something you've wanted for a while. And so in the state of California, I don't know how it applies to other states. In the state of California, you have to obtain what's called a Handgun Safety Certificate, an HSC. And the purpose of an HSC is you have to have competent knowledge of handgun safety, and you have to be able to demonstrate safe handling in order to obtain your HSC, and you need your HSC to purchase a handgun. And the HSC is good for 5 years. You pay like a $25 or $50 fee at the dealer at the time that you make the purchase or you make the pickup. I'm not sure which. So, being the good person that I am, I studied. It's a lot of common sense sort of questions that they have on the test. It's a 30 question multiple choice test. And I studied, I read the whole handbook, I took the sample test inside of the handbook, and I went online to try to find more sample tests to be able to practice on. And my Google foo just absolutely failed me, could not find any other tests. And then I finally stumbled across one that is labeled Firearms Safety Test. And I was all, okay, great, this will work. This will be something that I can take. So I pull up the document, and I'm doing this on my cell phone, mind you. I'm sitting in my car, looking at this on my cell phone. I have a little notepad so I can write down all of my answers. And I go through the first page of questions. There's 14 questions on the first page and 16 questions on the second page. So I go through the first 14 questions, and I get to question 6, and it's about shotguns and rifles. What's the difference between a shotgun and a rifle? Well, the answer was a rifle has rifle barrel. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird for a handgun safety, but it does say firearm, so I guess I got something that's general. So I go through, answer a bunch of other questions. There's like 3 or 4 other questions that had to do with rifles or shotguns. And I get to the second page, and at the top of the second page, there's a little logo and smaller text underneath it. And I zoom in, and do you want to know what the little logo and the little line of text said?
Probably not.
Boy Scouts of America.
Yes.
Okay.
I was taking a firearm safety test that is given to Boy Scouts.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're taught how to use firearms. It's one of their badges. Of course, it's only for like higher tier troops, but it's still something that they used to do and they continue doing.
But for how long?
I don't know.
I think that it's a good thing that they do, but it's kind of hilarious in my mind that I found this firearm safety test, and it was for the Boy Scouts, not for handgun safety certificate for the state of California. It was for the Boy Scouts. So that's my embarrassing story of the week.
Well, it's not really embarrassing unless you tell everyone about it, which you just did. So
yeah. Broadcasting to our 12 subscribers, I think, at the time of this.
Really? Actually, that's a lot more than I thought we had.
Yeah. Well, I mean, half of them are us.
Yeah.
So,
but that's at least 6 people.
Yes, at least 6. That's pretty good.
Woo!
You know, when I had 6 subscribers, I was ecstatic about it. Anyway.
I honestly and truthfully, that's a lot better than I thought we would do for how
it's only been, what, 2 episodes?
Yeah, we've had 2 episodes. I looked at the analytics the other day for the first episode, and we had something like 500 or 600 minutes watched, which is pretty good. That means that 10 people saw it the whole way through, or listened to it rather.
But we have 50 views on it.
Yeah, exactly. That is the other downside. A lot of people aren't getting all the way through. If anybody has suggestions, why don't you listen to it all the way through, or are we doing topics you're not interested in, let us know in the comments. But let's jump right into topics. We had talked about 3D printers last week. Last week or week 1?
It was last week. I sidetracked just with it a little bit.
Okay. So Grave put in a couple of articles about 3D food and 3D scanners. The link for the 3D food is a video mostly from Huffington Post, and it's talking about essentially what they're doing is they're taking food, dehydrating it, I guess, or something, drying it out, crumpling it up into dust, and then putting the dust into the printer to be able to make other things. And one of the examples was taking some sort of vegetable that most people don't like and making it into shapes of I think they had a spaceship or something was the shape.
Yeah. It's honestly video is kind of just a proof of concept as I see it, but it's really interesting because the whole 3D printing is just kind of the idea and the ability to do it's been there for a few years, but it's just now getting to the point where you can actually go and get a 3D printer for your house for, I think it's
$3,000.
Well,
somewhere around there for a basic one.
No, that's a higher end one actually, a
Is
home
it?
model. Yeah, they're actually one of the bigger companies. I think it's called MakerBot. They're actually selling I think $1,000 printer that it's not the best quality, but it's still, a 3D printer in your house, and it's built for consumers. And I find it kind of awesome.
Yeah, MakerBot actually, for those of you who are familiar with it, is owned by Make Magazine, and I actually have a stack of them sitting over on my nightstand.
Of course you would.
Well, it's a really cool magazine.
Oh, yeah.
But, so they sell these things for, as Graves said, $1,000, and I was wrong. I'm looking at it now. 3D printers. It's actually a really decent one too, because I went to the Maker Faire a few months ago in Portland, right near where I live, and there were 4 or 5 MakerBots there, and they were all making really cool shapes and things that are, they made a cup, they made a face, they made a little figurine. It was a really cool display, and anybody could sit down, scan something into the computer, and make it go. It's really cool how the technology is advancing.
And with the article we got, the food, 3D printing real meals is one of the biggest goals of 3D printing.
Why?
Well,
it's reaching for science fiction.
Yeah, more or less.
Is essentially what it comes down to. Because they even mention it in some of the articles is, similar to the Jetsons or Star Trek is what they akin it to, where you can press a button and food appears.
Yeah.
Okay, that I can see, but there's so many more simple ways to make food automatically.
There is, but if you think about it this way, one of the things that they're actually considering doing with what we have now is if you were able to take just basic components, say, I don't know, 4 or 5 different not materials, but types of food product, run them into a printer, hit a button, and it prints you out, I don't know, something like some meal.
Waffles.
Okay? Yeah, that's actually a really good one, because that's actually feasible.
Well, okay, waffles I can see a bit better because, it's something that you mix yourself. But again, you can just have a waffle maker and have something automatically dispensed into it.
Here's the thing that I'm trying to get to, though. You can have it do that, then hit another button, and using the same materials, it'll print something else that is completely different in every way.
Okay.
I have 3 points. One, health and safety concerns for 3D food. I mean, like Banjo's saying, you can use the same machine. For example, a microwave. You can use a microwave. You can have, freeze this frozen meal. You can throw it in. You press a button, and it heats up, and it's done. And then you can grab another frozen meal, throw that in there using the same machine, and that heats up, and it's a completely different meal. However, there are health concerns regarding microwave ovens because of microwave radiation, supposedly.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that are health and nutritionists say, stay away from microwave foods, not so much because there's a radiation factor to it, but because of how they are processed. Causes health concerns. So my thing would be, is the 3D food going to be actually safe?
Yeah.
That's one of the things you have to look for. But
and then 2, would using a 3D food printer on the positive side, would that help in removing food allergens? Or on the other side, foodborne illnesses? Like if you prepare chicken for this 3D printer, and you put it into the machine, is that removing the chance of salmonella?
If you think about it, it probably would, because it wouldn't be the raw meat. It would be probably just a powder, more or less.
Exactly.
And,
I can say, I'm sorry, I can say for one thing, being allergic to wheat and barley and rye, no. You can grind up wheat as much as you want, and it's still going to be.
Well,
it's still going to be an allergen to me.
This is all going down to a microscopic level, also. But
yeah,
you can't take out an allergen from
food. There's no way to make natural wheat into gluten-free. Essentially, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously they found a way to make it so celiacs actually have, problems with it, because actually, interesting enough, you know how most foods like corn and wheat are genetically modified?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That actually brought around celiac disease because there's a certain strain that someone thought, hey, this will make the wheat grow faster. But unfortunately, it also is an allergen to many people. And that actually only happened in like 1990 something. So
yeah, that's actually a fairly recent thing, because before, like when I was growing up and when my parents were growing up, you didn't hear of any sort of real big foodborne allergens. Like you had peanuts, which is a normal one. A lot of people are allergic to peanuts or peanut dust and anything like that.
Yeah.
But there's not. Up until recently, there has been a lot of gluten related.
It's because of genetic modifications. And of course, like corn, people have done really good genetic modifications on it. It's sweet, it tastes good, it's not really, nutritionally sound, but it's very hard to find someone who's allergic to corn. In fact, I don't think there's even a corn allergy that's well known in the scientific field. But like wheat, unfortunately, one thing unlocked something else, and it's genetic code, and now people like me can't eat it, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they should hurry up and make a pill, because I mean they have pills to fix lactose intolerance.
They don't work that well.
They don't work.
I'm
that
also
well.
lactose intolerant. They really don't work that well, and they actually make you feel pretty sick.
Hey, Bubble Boy, quit complaining.
I don't live in a bubble, okay?
Yet.
I'm allergic to 2 things. Does that make me instantly a bubble child?
Possible.
Yes. Anyhow,
moving on. Google Glasses. I haven't heard a whole great deal about these, but one bar in Seattle, Washington, has banned Google goggles from their establishment, and Google goggles aren't even available yet. You have to sign up to even be considered for it. And one bar has already banned them from the building, and citing privacy issues, which I think a lot of people a lot of companies are most likely going to ban them from private establishments. I mean, probably restaurants and stuff. I don't think that major retailers like Target or Walmart or anybody would be able to get away with that, because they have a much larger clientele than like this one little bar does.
And Walmart, a lot of people bring cameras in anyway and take pictures of freaks. So
yes, people of Walmart. I'm not going to put that in the link dump.
Why not?
Because nobody wants to look at people of Walmart.
If
they do, they know how to find it.
Yeah.
But I think that this also raises a big question about, obviously privacy issues, but I mean, if the average person, if you live in a metropolitan area, you're being photographed probably upwards of 100 times a day.
Really?
Yeah, because there's traffic cameras, there are red light cameras, there are cameras outside of businesses, cameras inside of businesses. If you count each camera as one individual instance,
I guess you're right.
You're probably talking about being photographed in some fashion, probably upwards of hundreds of times a day. If you live in a larger metropolitan area, like for example Washington D.C., you can probably bump that up to in the thousands for how many cameras they have that are government controlled on city streets. Now, does this Google goggles raise the same questions, or why isn't Google the government cameras raising the same questions as Google goggles? But I think that's probably a little bit off topic, and we're going to get a lot of reach for it, so I shouldn't have asked it. But thoughts on Google Glasses?
They're dorky and unnecessary. I see no point in them.
I'm looking at the picture in the article for it, and it's like, is that what they really look like?
Yeah.
I think at this stage that's what they're going for, but I think what the end goal they want is actually a pair of glasses that have, like the glasses are just transparent screens. We don't have the technology for that at the moment, I don't think. So I think this is just kind of what they're going for.
You'd be surprised, because I've seen some...
There's a way to make a transparent screen.
There is. I know there is.
I've seen some pretty interesting things that they're doing with cars right now.
Like you have your dash on the windshield, and you can look at it and put it around anywhere you need.
Well, I mean, they have cars. Like they're developing cars that drive themselves. Like what is it? Minority Report? No, not Minority Report. iRobot.
Yes.
The Will Smith movie. They have those. Yeah. They have cars very similar to that, and I saw a demonstration of one of them a month ago, and the guy was driving along in the car, and on the screen on the passenger side, it's like, oh, you have a phone call, would you like to answer it? And the guy's like, yeah, I'll answer it. And then the car is just like, okay, initiating automatic driving. And so the car takes over control of the vehicle, and that pulls up the person that they are talking to. They'd have a video conference on the windshield of the car.
Very interesting. I actually hadn't seen anything about that one yet.
I'll have to look it up and see if I can find it to put into link dump. But that technology is there. But obviously, this is a much larger screen than just on little glasses, and you have a lot more hardware to be able to work around. A lot of more framework rather to work around to get that sort of stuff installed. But I think that it's possible. I think it's entirely possible for the goggles to be indistinguishable. And I think that also creates a problem that if they are indistinguishable, then how do you know if you're being videoed or not?
Well,
I think that the purpose of them is grand, but the implementation is probably going to be very flawed.
Yeah, they might end up getting a lot of flack from having cameras in them if they do decide to, which brings me to the thought they might actually make a separate line of them without cameras, just for the fact of,
I think it'd be cool to be able to, have a set of glasses that you can, watch a movie on, or get directions. So is linked to your smartphone. Like you pull up Netflix on your smartphone and you watch it on your glasses. And I'm saying that as a person that wears glasses on a regular basis.
Well, I don't know. They look kind of bulky, and
I agree. I agree. In the current instance, they seem pretty bulky.
Yeah.
If I were to strap those onto my glasses, I would probably get bugged to hell.
That girl does not seem comfortable in the slightest.
No.
Actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, do you know what it reminds me of? Vegeta, what does the scouter say about her power level?
It's over 9,000.
Once it has been seen, it cannot be unseen.
Yeah. Thank you, Asriel. Podcast over.
Moving on.
That may have been one of their design choices, actually.
Knowing Google, it's like, how can we get the internet to get involved with this? Let's make it look like something from DBC. All right. Speaking of things nobody understands, Stonehenge might be possibly an ancient burial ground, as 50,000 bone fragments were found at the site. Along with something like, I think it said something like 60,000 animal bone fragments as well.
I thought we already ruled out that it was in fact a burial ground, years ago.
This is actually a fairly recent article. On the 10th, which is 2 days ago. Yeah.
But I mean, I thought we already theorized what it was, and a burial ground is definitely.
The original theory was that it was a burial ground for a lineage of kings,
that makes
or elite
sense.
families. Now it is considered that it's possibly just a communal burial ground, and possibly each stone is a certain family.
You know what this reminds me of?
Uh-oh.
Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead!
Oh.
I want one! I'm not dead!
We'll be soon enough. Yeah.
Awesome.
But, it's just... I found this interesting just for the fact that nobody really... Stonehenge has been there for God knows how long, and nobody really knows what it is yet, or still doesn't know what it is. And this is just one of the theories that... it's plausible. I mean...
3000 BC. So over 5,000 years, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't study Stonehenge, but it was a topic of discussion when I took an architectural history class for my theater degree, because I did technical design. And they talked about it in the focus of how the hell did they get those stones from several thousand miles away to that location, because the rocks that Stonehenge is comprised of is not available anywhere nearby. I don't think thousands, several hundred miles.
How did the Egyptians build the pyramids?
That they've already figured out.
Yeah. So it's not really that difficult to figure out.
It's pretty safe to say that they used the same sort of technology that the Egyptians did to construct the pyramids that they did to move. But
put a couple logs under it and roll it.
The sheer mileage that had to have been logged, and the sheer manpower to have moved all of those stones, the largest of which, if I remember correctly, weighs something like 20 tons. 20 U.S. tons, so 40,000 pounds.
And in metrics, that is a shit ton.
A shite. Excuse me. If we're going metric, it'd be shite ton.
Shite ton. Sorry. Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I have to agree that it is pretty interesting that they're, it's something that is so old that we still haven't figured out yet, and possibly might not ever know.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that I don't understand, Miyamoto from Nintendo, the creator of Mario and Zelda, thinks that isn't worried about the Wii U and its poor sales, because he said gamers will continue to buy hardware if the games are compelling. And he's mostly talking about this in relation to console games versus mobile games using cell phones or iPods or iPads and stuff like that.
Well, console games are always going to be more powerful and better.
They'll always be more powerful, but like I was just saying, this guy Miyamoto, he's saying that he thinks that the Wii U and other consoles are going to sell just because the games are that good, which makes perfect good sense. As long as they actually have games that are that good.
Well, there's one thing that you have to take into account, that a person that is playing a mobile game for your mobile device, iPad, iPod, iPhone, whatever, Android phone, I don't think anybody that buys those games expects a compelling video game out of it.
Yeah.
They're looking for a time sink. Like I absolutely hate tower defense games for the most part, and I have a tower defense game that I paid $4 for that is a wonderful little time sink. Because I can do all sorts of dumb crap in it and see how long I can actually last being a complete idiot with that game. And I mean, I'm not looking for a compelling game out of that, but if I'm paying $60 for a console game or for a PC game, I'm looking for something that is going to have some sort of depth with it.
Okay,
I'd like to
give one huge example for Nintendo in particular. Legend of Zelda. People are buying the Wii U just for the Legend of Zelda.
I would have to probably agree with that. Zelda is probably one of those few compelling video games that Nintendo has under its belt.
Yeah.
Along with Mario. People like the Mario games too.
People like Mario games, but I don't think that Mario has a compelling story. You could argue that the Metroid series of games, have a better story. I've never played a Metroid game, so I can't speak to it. But
wonderful game.
I've heard tons of praise for it, but I mean that's what I'm saying. You can argue that Metroid has a better storyline sort of thing than Mario does. Mario doesn't really have that storyline except for your princess is in another castle. That's what everybody thinks of when they think of Mario.
The original video game troll. Anyhow,
Mario is one of those games where it's more of a platformer where you can go through the levels rather than like Legend of Zelda where you go through the storyline and you meet new people and you make new friends and you get new allies and you get new weapons, that kind of stuff. Whereas Mario's just, jump on a turtle and get a mushroom.
Yeah, well, it's, original platformer, and they've kept it pretty true to the original game for the most part.
Yeah, actually, one of the things that I wish I had a Wii U for is Wind Waker HD. I still have the original Wind Waker. I still play it. On my GameCube. GameCube actually was the first console I ever had. My uncle gave it to me when he got a Wii. But yeah, Legend of Zelda is just so nostalgic for me because I played it since I was 5. I don't know.
Legend. The Twilight Princess game is probably the only reason I have a Wii, and I haven't touched the thing in years because I beat the game like 2 or 3 times and then just gave it to my family.
Yeah, I honestly, my parents have a Wii and my brother enjoys playing it, but I don't know how. Like I'll if I go up to visit them, I'll play a couple of rounds of Super Smash Brothers. I have no idea what I'm doing, and I still manage to kick his butt. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm bored with this.
Yeah.
So I play Xbox and PC because there's compelling storylines, and that's largely what drove me to buy so many of the Call of Duty franchises games is and as well as Halo.
Oh god.
Shut up, Brandon. Is I am a story-driven person.
Yeah, likewise.
I enjoy playing the campaign, typically more so than I enjoy playing multiplayer, and that's simply because I'm a character and plot-driven, a story-driven person when it comes to video games.
Yeah, likewise.
I really enjoy the multiplayer aspects.
I just like killing people.
Okay, moving on.
And rape.
Oh yeah, there's that.
GameStop. Speaking of games, GameStop.
I guess
everything else is about games now, so whatever. The GameStop vice president, former, he got fired in 2011, is sentenced to 4 years in prison for fraud. It says mail fraud, but what happened was he was essentially created a shell company and a false individual. I think the name was Jennifer Miller. I don't remember the business's name.
Cloud Communications.
Yeah, Cloud Communications LLC. And essentially he was doing charges, writing checks to Cloud Communications from GameSpot for services rendered or whatever. And Jennifer Miller was this fictitious point person of contact for the fake business. And he stole $1.7 million. And somehow didn't spend any of it because he gave all the money back, as well as $57,000 that had not been paid from the loss, and $77,000 in restitution. Kind of amusing. It's not really anything that's like a huge discussion, but
I don't have anything to say.
It's just more of all these things that are happening in the gaming world, and it's like, we're having a hard enough time getting people to be okay with gamers, and now you're doing something mainstream like bilking millions of dollars from your company.
Yeah.
From your own company too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
woo embezzlement. Good job, you got caught. The DayZ standalone video, a 20-minute trailer for the game, also includes footage of the zombies and their improved tracking AI.
I am terrified.
I have been looking forward to DayZ. I can't wait. Arma 3 is actually already in alpha, and is available for, I think, pre-order or something along those lines. I'm not sure the price. I'm having trouble pulling anything up. Too many windows open, I think. But yeah, I watched the video earlier this morning, and it looks amazing.
Yeah,
I am so excited for DayZ.
This is actually one of the few games I'm looking forward to at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that we could actually do group videos for this and have them, DayZ and the producers of Arma 3 and DayZ, they don't have any problem with people advertising it, doing videos. They take it as it is, which is free advertising. You have somebody that is taking your product and showing it to their fan base that may or may not already be aware of it, and that take your opinion for what it is, and may go and end up buying it because of their reaction. Yeah. They're taking it as free advertisement. So I think that that's really sweet, and I can't wait to fucking play DayZ.
Now, I don't understand, just kind of going on a separate tangent here, why developers don't see that. That videos on YouTube are free advertisement. That's it. It's not an infringement of your copyright. It's not a complete outright, this game sucks, don't buy it. It's not like that. It's, this game is cool, I like it, you should get it too.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't make sense to me.
One of the big problems is a lot of the times, I know each of us have gotten copyright infringement notices before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I swear I have a bot doing it.
Well, the thing is,
bots doing it for pretty much everybody.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's most of the time, now I'm not saying it's every time, but most of the time, it's normally a bot will run through your audio. If it hears a couple of things that sound like a song in any way, shape, or form, it'll block it immediately. That way, in case it is, it won't be continued airing.
Yeah, and then you can challenge it, and it'll go back up, and then a more sophisticated bot or a person will go through and say, go through and check it again.
Yeah.
And you can bounce it all around, back and forth for a while until it actually ends up going to court.
If it ever gets that far, yeah. It's.
I mean, there still isn't even a set resolution for Captain Sparkles yet, is there? For
no
Minecraft style.
He still has. I think it's still down, actually.
It is still down. I don't know when I think I checked maybe a couple weeks ago. But yeah, and that was all original. I mean, it was a parody, straight parody. You can't argue that it wasn't parody. Parody is a safe thing that you can do.
Yeah, it's.
There was no copyright because the music wasn't the original music. It was one that was created by a group called Approaching Nirvana. Which they did their own version of the song. They did their own parody version of the song, their own take on it. Captain Sparkles wrote all of his own lyrics in complete parody.
Well, actually, I think it was someone else, but that's beside the point.
Who? On which one?
I think all three of them, he has a different singer.
He has, it's Bootstrap Buckaroo.
Yes.
Or no, not Bootstrap Buckaroo. Bootstrap Buckaroo does the rigging and a bunch of the animation. It is. I cannot think of it for the life of me. It's something ninja. I can see if I can try to find it.
Something here. Actually, let me.
In any case,
yeah, he has someone write the lyrics. He does a lot of the animation. Someone else rigs all the stuff up for animation. It's a big drawn out process, and Sony took it down because it was a parody.
Which they technically can't do. That's if I remember, that's part of the First Amendment.
It's the same reason that Weird Al Yankovic doesn't get in trouble for any of his stuff. It's because it's being done as parody. Okay, I got it. It's Try Hard Ninja is the
Try Hard.
vocalist.
Yes, that's it. Try Hard Ninja sings.
But Captain Sparkles does all of the writing, a large portion of the writing.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah, he's the one that comes up with the ideas, the lyrics, and then he has other people that do the singing and the. Though apparently he is quite the badass rapper with the from he can throw down from. Boy, now I can't even. I am drawing blanks today. I can't remember the name of the video. It's the Creeper one.
Yeah.
TNT.
No, it's the second one.
Jesus.
I don't know. Whatever. Let's just move on.
Yeah. Wow, we got really sidetracked from DayZ.
Yeah. Holy crap.
So we're looking forward to the release for DayZ. Once it's released, once the standalone is released, we're definitely going to be
doing a group thing.
Doing group videos.
Oh yeah, definitely.
At the very least, Team IDC, as well as Team IDK.
And actually, the best part of DayZ is that it's like Minecraft, where you can just go on forever. There's no ending to it.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it's a set map.
The current incarnation on Arma 2 has a limited map space.
Except
yeah. I mean more like you can walk around and survive for as long as you can.
It's a sandbox style game.
Yeah,
sandbox style survival game is the best way to refer to it.
Yeah, and I'm actually wondering if they're gonna make because I know whenever I was watching the video, they were referring to the original map, Cherno and everything. I forget what the actual name of it was, but that map, if I remember right, was like 22 square miles approximately, like in game size.
Yeah.
If they expand that map anymore, it may as well be infinite, honestly.
I think that if they make it bigger, they're going to need easier ways of travel. Is going to be the big thing.
Yeah.
because if you make it something like, for example, if you guys, I don't know if you guys have ever played Just Cause 2.
No.
It's a sandbox style world that's set on a variety of islands. The state or country is called Panau. It is freaking monstrous. Like, it is probably several hundred, if not maybe 1,000 square miles that you can explore the whole thing.
Wow.
If DayZ got that big, or even like a percentage of that big, like the largest island is probably several hundred square miles. You'd need a better way to travel, because I mean, in that game you can hijack any car that's around.
That's actually one of the things that I like about the game. That the original DayZ and this one, I'm pretty sure they're going to keep it as true to life as possible, which makes it more of a challenge. And yeah.
I mean, it will be a challenge, but I think also a plus of having it something that big is that it reduces the numbers of encounters between other individuals, so that if there is on a specific server a certain group that bands together, creates their own essential community, they can essentially conquer a region and lay claim to it, in theory, and they have plenty of room that it's not going to infringe upon other people unless those people manage to wander in.
Or, spawn in it.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about DayZ for quite a while now.
Yeah. Oh, you just want to talk about the next one because it involves your favorite company.
Valve is not my favorite company.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's up there. But
so we've talked about consoles and the possibility of a Steam box, but Valve has stated that the current Steam box called Piston by Xi3 they have no involvement in it. They had originally started working with them for about a year, but then bailed on it and said that they're not working with that company. But Xi3 is moving forward with it, with what is called the Piston, which the base model is $1,000.
And it's
what the price tag is.
And this I see is kind of a ripoff, because it's only a 3.2 gigahertz quad processor. It's only 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it's only 128 gigabytes of hard drive space. That's a lot of money.
Yes, it is. But you also have to take. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, because it's been a topic of discussion on several podcasts that I listened to already, that it's a complete ripoff for people that know exactly what components cost. If you don't know very much about computers, and you're used to going to Target or Walmart or Costco or Sam's Club or something along those lines, and just going in and buying a pre-built computer, you're expecting to pay $700-800 and getting a relatively decent computer, not anything that is top of the line. Yeah. So $1,000 PC essentially is what it is. They throw all these numbers out, and most people don't understand it, so they're just like, okay, this must be really good, otherwise it wouldn't be $1,000.
I will tell you one thing. I'm building a computer for a friend, and I have maybe $800, and I have a 3.6 gigahertz processor in there. I have 16 gigabytes of RAM, and I have 2 terabytes of hard drive space. And
exactly.
But the 2 terabytes isn't solid state.
Yeah. No, because solid state is... I don't understand why people go for solid state. It is a bit faster, but it doesn't... It's not a good trade-off for a terabyte of hard drive space.
I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah, it's... The whole thing behind solid state is it's pretty much going to be what they're going to put more research time into now, because it's...
We already know how to make a 4 terabyte hard drive.
Exactly. But this is... The whole... solid state is so much more compact, and it's faster, like you said.
I will tell you, whenever they make a 2 terabyte solid state drive for a reasonable price, I will buy it.
That's gonna be a while, probably. Yeah,
I saw one thing that was available online that was a 1.5 terabyte total size, or capacity, excuse me, solid state hard drive box. It was an external thing that you plug into your computer with a FireWire connection, and it had 6 slots for solid-state hard drives that could be hot swapped, which means that you don't have to turn it off in order to, for those that are listening, don't have to turn it off in order to replace one. You pull it out, you pop another one in, and it's good to go. You don't have to reboot, you don't have to reset, it's good to go. And that
now, how much does it cost?
That was, at the time, I want to say $1,800.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But damn if it didn't look sexy. And they had... and somebody was telling me that they saw one at Sam's Club, I think. No,
I don't care. I'm not buying it.
Well, nor am I. But they said that they had it in a giant security case because they were afraid that people were going to try to break in and steal it.
That is actually $1,800 worth of research and SSD technology in there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not something to, shake a stick at.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's...
Solid-state drives are going to end up being what most computers are going to be within, for the next, until they come out with something better.
And
they're
when I can get
fully researched yet.
When a 128 gigabyte drive isn't as expensive as my 1 terabyte hard drive, I will get it. It is a complete ripoff.
I think that I would personally go for for example, you have a 2 terabyte solid state hard drive for $150. We'll say is going to be
that is reasonable.
A reasonable price, and then right next to it you have a 8 terabyte non-solid state hard drive for the same $150. Which one would you go for?
Oh, that's
seeing as I would never, ever, 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 ever use 8 terabytes of hard drive space, I think I would go for the solid state.
I would probably go for the 8 terabytes because I know that I could probably use up 8 terabytes.
Well,
I have to go through my hard drive on like a bi-weekly basis, once every 2 weeks, to clear out shit that I have recorded. Like, for example, I could probably pull up the recording of us playing King of the Ladder for an hour and a half, and I think that's somewhere around 300 or 400 gigs.
Oh, well, you see, what I do is I record one thing after another, and then I render it out, then I delete the video.
Oh, I'm doing that too. That's what I'm doing every 2 weeks. Is I'll go through everything that I've rendered. I'll delete the original files for, unless, for example, like if I do any sort of major editing to it, I'll do 2 versions of it. I'll have a straight render, which is all the video files compressed into one at my normal specs, and then I'll have my edited version, and then I'll delete the originals.
Yeah,
which is a lot of work for me, but meh.
Speaking of which, I just looked at my hard drive and I'm getting scared because I don't delete my raw files ever.
They take up so much space.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, well, that's just because I'm lazy and I feel like I'm going to delete something important, which, knowing me, I probably would.
or probably already have.
Oh, I guarantee I have. It's just my storage, my actual recording hard drive, yeah, it's got about 20 gigs left. I should probably clean that out. I'm guessing a lot of that's from. I'm guessing a lot of that's from us doing long play sessions of just stupid stuff that's never going to get used.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyway, we're coming up on an hour, and we are just right under.
Oh, that's that's an hour in the call, so we still got a little bit of time, but we do want to get to the last discussion topic, which is EA. Everybody hates you.
At this point, yeah.
Pretty much at this point, everybody hates EA. The reason that I put this article in here specifically is because at the very top, all the little linkies that have to all the other articles that they've done about SimCity and EA and everything. I wanted those to be shared as well, so this one kind of wraps everything up pretty nicely. Is SimCity was a disastrous launch, and it still essentially is a disastrous launch. They had somewhere, I think somebody said like around 80,000 pre-orders for this game.
Yes.
And at the time of launch, there was 4 servers available for use. How How many people is that? 20,000 people per server? I don't know of any servers that can hold that.
Well, I mean, they could have a solid-state drive.
Yeah, but think of how many
even
gigs of
with-
RAM that would require.
Yeah,
That
just
would
to
require
allocate-
maybe 30 processors.
Yeah.
Overclocked.
They really weren't prepared for what they had.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. I mean, and I
They
don't
knew
know that it's
they had that. Continue.
I don't know that it's essentially Maxis's fault for producing
No, it's
the game,
EA.
but it's definitely. I definitely think EA has a handle in it because it's their game. They produced it. They didn't create it, but they produced it, and you can't blame Maxis for making a game when EA was, essentially kind of forcing certain features onto it and not providing the support that it needed to.
I don't really think that was so much what was going on. I think EA really procrastinated in how long they had to set up the thousands of servers that they actually needed. And EA being EA, they can afford that. It won't really hurt them that much. So why did you hold off on that long? But think of it this way. I mean, 10 years ago, EA was a respectable company.
Was.
Well,
I wonder, did they ever have some kind of management change or something?
I don't know specifically.
Very likely.
I think at some
actually,
point somebody must have sold their soul to the devil for this company. And
Probably.
now it's just all going to shit.
No. They didn't sell their soul because they would be too greedy for that. They sold the company's soul.
Oh, company has a soul.
Sure.
Yes.
Apparently, yeah.
Because obviously.
But some people, like, there's been a spectacular failure as far as Maxis's launch for SimCity, and I want this game to be good. I really want this game to be good because SimCity is something that is, very near and dear. I played it when I was a little kid. I had a Macintosh LC playing the original SimCity on it.
Oh wow!
And that was loads of fun to me. Coming from somebody that used to play on an Apple IIe, and playing Oregon Trail, it was a big step up to have graphics and gameplay.
Yeah, actually, I said that the GameCube was my first console. SimCity 4 was my first computer game. I love that game. I still have it.
It's such a great game and a great franchise, and I hate to see this be a bad launch.
Yeah.
Do I think that it's going to negatively affect future sales?
No.
Because people are just going to be now waiting on purchasing it until it levels out, until it's all, where it needs to be in order for it to be successful. Do I think the always on internet connectivity DRM is a good thing? Hell fucking no. Nobody wants to have to be locked into the internet in order for a game to work. I understand
that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, at least.
I haven't read really into it that much because, like I said, I'm waiting until shit gets settled. But apparently a lot of the features have to do with having multiplayer connectivity.
Well,
That's what's making the big deal about SimCity is that you have these regions that you can build with your friends. You can set private regions, and the regions comprise of your cities, various cities, built by all of your friends. And so as each individual city rises, the region rises as well. And you have to be connected to the internet in order to be able to have those other cities from those other people.
I don't know if you guys played SimCity 4, but it had the same kind of concept in it, except there was one huge thing that it really was missing was the actual multiplayer concept of it. You could build two cities on your own, next to each other, and have industrial and residential and, all that stuff right in separate cities. But now in SimCity 2013, they finally have the multiplayer aspect, and that is so awesome for SimCity players because they've been waiting on it for so long. And
But do you think that it needs to be an always-on connectivity? Well,
I mean, sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. If you go into a multiplayer world, then you're gonna have people. You always have to be connected to those other worlds.
But I mean, you don't have any sort of individual. There's no single player at all.
Yeah.
Point of fact, you can't even do the demonstration or the tutorial unless you're connected to the internet.
Okay. Here's another thing. Here's another thing. Who isn't connected to the internet anymore who gets a game like this?
Okay, for example, people that travel. They're traveling, they're flying on a plane and playing a little simulator game. You know, you can't get internet connection on your plane for the most part.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? That's not entirely true.
Not a lot of places have internet connectivity on their planes. At the airport, yeah.
A lot of planes actually nowadays do have internet connection. Like, people can... I used to... Well, not me, but a friend actually connected to a Minecraft server while he was 30,000 feet in the air. So a lot of planes are now introducing Wi-Fi, and a lot of places like...
To prove the point, this game... It should be an amazing game. It's just the problem where there is no ability to do things without having to deal with the internet. You should be able to.
That's where its core is. That's where it originally started, was single player, and they're pushing multiplayer onto it by force. I think is the big problem.
I think what's happening here is not so much that they're forcing multiplayer, more that they're let me try to think of a phrase. They're trying to have everything stored on a server. And that is really important for a game like this, where you're constantly making changes. It constantly has to be saved. It's kind of like a server on, like the MineSanity server. Someone places a block, it gets saved in that server. So I understand that you want single player, but that's something that EA doesn't want, because they want to have... If you have two cities and you want to continue your one city, whereas your friend continues theirs, you can make a change in your city and it instantly gets updated for them, and then it gets saved on that server. They can then access your city, visit it, send an ambulance, whatever. I haven't watched very many videos because I want to get in it on my own on Friday when I'm getting it. Hee. So
tell us how long it takes you to load it the first time.
Yeah, try connecting to your first server.
I mean, that's one big problem. But I think that once EA gets the servers figured out, if they ever do,
once they get it sorted out,
I think once it gets sorted out. But definitely, it's a spectacular failure for a launch
right now. Yeah,
you know, very much akin to Diablo 3's launch.
Oh, Diablo 3
by Blizzard.
Yeah, I mean, but Blizzard really fixed it really quickly.
Like a good company should. They should admit, hey, we fucked up, we didn't do it right, we're fixing it right away.
Yeah, but I think, I can't remember, in the original SimCity, did EA have any affiliation with it at all?
No, it was strictly
Maxis. It was only Maxis. Okay.
Yeah, it was strictly Maxis on the original.
Maxis is a wonderful company.
Yes, it is.
They make these games, they continue to make them. Great for you, good job. EA comes in and says you have to change it this way to fit into our Origin launcher. And I hate Origin. It is a smaller, slower, worse version of Steam.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It takes a harder space, it takes forever to start up, it just... Sorry.
Speaking of Origin, that was one of the other articles that's linked to this one, is that people are requesting, or EA is refusing refunds on the product with such a failed launch and everything. People want their money back because the game's unplayable. It isn't, nobody can play it, so why should they have to have paid for it? They don't want the game anymore. They want to uninstall it, get their money back. And EA has refused pretty much all of the time, and there's several chat logs that have gone viral. One, I don't remember the player's name, but the customer service representative, I think, is named Adrian. if you can think of that, you can probably know what one I'm talking about, and I'll try to find it for the link dump, or it's in here somewhere. The people are requesting chargebacks from their credit cards or their banks, because of this failed launch, because they're being refused a refund. They want their money back, so the banks are going through it, and even if they are unsuccessful in getting their money back, EA has still stated that they will ban Origin accounts for people that go for chargebacks.
What?
Yeah, exactly. So if you say, okay, I bought SimCity, this is a terrible game, I can't even play it, I can't even play the tutorial, I want my money back. EA says no. You say, give me my money back or I'm going to do a chargeback. They're going to say, okay, if you do, we're going to ban you. You go to your bank, you send all the paperwork to your bank and have them do a chargeback. You get your money back. Origin, you are banned from Origin, and you have no access to any of your games that are done through Origin. So, for example, I would lose out on Battlefield 3. I would lose everything because it's all DRM, it's all digital. I don't own anything, so I can't do anything with it.
Okay, this almost makes me not want to buy SimCity. I'm still gonna get it, but
once it's fixed, sure, it will be great. But who knows how long that's going to take, considering that it's EA.
Yeah.
They're all currently, have their boners up for Battlefield 3's Endgame that just got released yesterday or sometime this weekend.
I don't know, and I don't care.
I honestly, I had paid for the premium pass and got all the DLC for, a lot cheaper than buying them individually, and I'm just like, God, that was a waste of money.
Yeah. In my opinion, Battlefield 3 was a complete ripoff. I mean...
Of?
What?
Of what?
For my brother. He got
ripoff,
it for the...
I thought you were talking like it was a ripoff of this other game. Not like
no.
as in
but like
a waste of money.
My brother buys Battlefield 3, and he gets the online pass. Now, the online pass he uses on an old account. The account gets corrupted by Microsoft. Okay, sure. Transfer all my stuff. They're like, okay, we will. But we can't transfer this pass. So he now cannot play Battlefield 3.
Yes.
He bought this game for nothing. He bought $60 worth of Xbox crap that I don't really care about anyway.
Well, you can buy another pass, if I remember correctly.
But that's
it's like
the thing. It's $20.
Yeah.
So why make a 13-year-old child pay $20 extra for a game he paid $60 for just to play multiplayer? It's such a horrible deal. What is with what is with the multiplayer pass anyway? Why did he need it?
It's to prevent. It's like we were talking about in the last week was the secondhand owners. It's to prevent secondhand owners.
I don't get companies anymore.
No, I agree.
It's all for money.
Yeah, exactly.
Why can't companies do things to do them right instead of doing things for money?
Because that would make sense.
Some companies do. Remember, we all play Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen all the bugs in Minecraft?
But they actively work on fixing it.
Those are not bugs. Those are features.
Bud switches.
Yes.
Anyway, so it just boggles my mind that companies can't be more like Mojang. Mojang is such a good company. It listens to its people. It actively tweets to them.
It's because Mojang is still small.
Mojang is
not very US based.
That's okay.
Mojang's
solution right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are in Sweden. We are instantly good. Anyway.
We are righteous.
We are good.
All right. I don't think we really have any time for questions in this episode. Not that we had any, but I'm sure we could have come up with anything. Anyways, I hope everybody.
I asked plenty.
Shut up. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. If you guys have questions or discussion topics that you want to talk to us about or us to discuss, leave them in the comments.
We will get them next week.
You guys can subscribe anywhere. I'm not sure where the subscribe button is on the page that you're viewing it on, but hit subscribe. We do podcast every week, and hopefully we're going to start doing more
multiplayer game stuff.
More multiplayer games, putting more videos on the network channel, and hopefully we'll start getting Stevie some clips that he can animate.
Yeah.
I want to kick him in the butt because he hasn't animated anything recently, but we're going to try to get more stuff on network, so subscribe, keep on checking us, and we'll see you guys next time. Any guy, final thoughts? Grave, final thoughts?
I'll give you one guess.
Later.
Yeah, later, of course.
Yeah, exactly. You're useless. Banjo, final thoughts?
Hey.
Well, I did want to go into the mass of the sun some more, just to make everybody explode.
Peace! We're out!